Hey, this is the C&D channel. I'm Chris, and this is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Bellator 54, which is going to happen on October 15th on MTV2. This will be for the middleweight tourney semifinals. Okay, let's start from top and go down to the prelims. Okay, Bryan is going to fight Alexander Shlemenko. This fight should be really cool. Total striking battle. Both guys have proven knockout power. I think Shlemenko is just going to have a little more experience, and even though Ryan Rodgers can throw like flying knees, you're talking about Shlemenko who's throwing like spinning back fists and whatnot. He has a really good chin too with Shlemenko. I mean, this guy went 5 rounds with Hector Lombard, and his ground game's really good too. If you saw his fight against like Brett Cooper, he's a pretty resilient guy as well. I mean, Bryan Rodgers, though, every time he wins in the first round by knockout. You know, he's never been finished, but, you know, I just got to go with the more proven guy in Alexander Shlemenko to win this one. It should be a really cool fight, though, and I can see it just mainly going to the stand-up. But Shlemenko actually showed some really good grappling chops in his last fight, getting a really sick guillotine on his last opponent. Sick fight, though. Okay, next fight after that, we have Bryan Beast Baker versus Vitor Vianna. You know, Vianna did not look good against Sam Alvey. You know, he kind of just cruised the decision here. Striking didn't look good. He had like no aggression. For a guy that trains on one fight team, you'd kind of think he'd be a bit more aggressive. But man, he was sitting back a lot. I mean, he's well-rounded enough. You know, his striking's all right. You know, he was taking down Alvey. You know, and he has a lot of submission, or like 4 submission victories as well. But, you know, Bryan Baker, his last fight against Jared Hest, awesome fight. You can see the grappling chops in Baker. He almost did get choked out in that first round, though. But he does have very strong judo and heavy hands. And you see some resiliency in fighting a really grueling fight with Jared Hest. Got to go with the Beast to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have a super fight not for the title, as Zach Fun-Size Makovsky is going to fight Ryan Roberts. I'm a big fan of Makovsky. You know, I actually am kind of worried he's not going to win. He's going to lose the title by the end of the bantamweight tournament, or whenever he fights the winner of the bantamweight tournament. Unless it's like Ed West, because I can see him beat Ed West again. But otherwise, he should be able to, you know, use his high energy, you know, constant takedowns, constant activity to get Ryan Roberts to the ground. Roberts is pretty solid. You know, he's coming off a 3-fight win streak, though. One of them's a draw. You know, he beat Bellator guys like Nick Mamelis within that stretch, and he has a lot of fights under his belt, a little more than 25 fights. But I think Zach Makovsky, despite being small for the weight class, he makes up for it with just high energy, aggressive wrestling, you know, strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills as well. Okay, and finally, we have Jacob Kirwan versus Rene Nazare. Nazare all the way here, man. I mean, this guy, in his last fight, man, you know, his striking's good, his wrestling's good. This guy is just an extremely well-rounded fighter. All of his fights so far, the 3 fights he's had in Bellator, have all been finishes. I mean, this guy, really well-rounded. I want to see what he can do in the upcoming lightweight tournament. Jacob Kirwan, though, he's generally lost to like good people like Jim Haytes, who's now in the UFC, Marcus Galvo, who's doing really well in Bellator right now. You know, he has most of his wins by submissions, but Nazare is very good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. I don't see where Kirwan here has any real advantage over Nazare. I'm curious to see how Nazare progresses in his career. Undefeated. He looks like a really solid prospect. Okay, on to the prelim card. We have Daniel Gracie trying to get his first win in Bellator as he fight fights Dwayne Bastris. I'm going to go with Gracie here with the superior jiu-jitsu. Biggest problems with Gracie, he's like 39 years old. His cardio's not that good. His striking's not that good. But the thing is, Bastris, 3-1 record. I mean, it's not exactly it's not someone who's like, as far as record goes, at least, isn't like the strongest opponent for Daniel Gracie. He should be able to get the submission here, but we'll see. The thing with the Gracies, though, I mean, it's they want to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in MMA sometimes to their detriment, or they so aggressively try and get that takedown and use their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills, but their striking's usually not there, their cardio sometimes not there as well. So, but I do still have Daniel Gracie winning this one. Okay, next fight after that we have Carl the Psycho Amasu versus Joey Kirwan. I'm a big fan of the Psycho, but in this fight, I mean, he has really strong judo. His striking can get wild. I really liked his kicks he was using on Albi in his last fight. Were really effective. I think he should really stick with using a lot more of his kicks. He gets wild with the hands a lot of times. Like I said, strong judo. I remember against Albi, took him down immediately. He went to mount. Most of his wins are by submission as well. Joey Kirwan, he's never been past the second round, so this should be really interesting. He's had most wins by submission, but he's also had most of his losses by submission as well. I think Carl Amasu can handle himself well enough on the ground as well. Next fight after that, Tim Carpenter is going to fight Ryan Cantaldi. The thing with Cantaldi, he's taking this fight on short notice. So, it's really hard for me to pick him. Carpenter, he's been solid in Bellator. He's only lost to Christian Mpumbu. He beat Daniel Gracie, if I'm not mistaken. Really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, long legs as well. The thing is, with a lot of these, Bellator light heavyweights, they kind of move around. They don't move well. And Carpenter was one of those guys that I didn't find to move well. His movement's kind of funny. He seems kind of flat. A lot of these, like I said, a lot of these Bellator light heavyweights kind of move like heavyweights in a way. And Tim Carpenter is one of those guys I noticed it's kind of like that. Despite that, though, I think he'll win this fight. His striking's solid enough, but his ground game's really strong as well. Okay, next fight after that, we have Andrea Kaplan versus Adrian Sieber. Kaplan is the wife of the Bellator matchmaker, Sam Kaplan, if I'm not mistaken. She does have an amateur Muay Thai experience and is a Grappler's Quest champion. She is 33 years old and making her pro MMA debut. Adrian, in her last fight, she had a pretty close fight against another good female prospect. However, I do have Andrea Kaplan winning this one. But it's really tough to say with someone making the pro MMA debut. It can really go any way. Okay, next fight after that, I don't know too much about these guys, but it's Bryan Kelleher versus Claudio Ledesma. I'm going with Kelleher to win this one. He trains at a bomb squad, and he's off a 4-fight win streak, all wins by stoppage. So yeah, that's it for my Bellator 54 predictions. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you very much.